Are you ready?
Hey. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome. Quickly, Jay, Patrick, good to see you. And that just suddenly reminds me about all the good times you guys had over at G-Bays over the weekend. That looked like it was a hell of a good party. Great to see you, Flower Felon. Hey, we have got a great show for you tonight. We have got a variables takeover. Pedro, Frigoli, and Superior Budz will be joining us very shortly. Superior Budz is our seed sponsor for the show this evening. Very grateful for that. And what else is going on? Well, we've got our Gone in 60. We're that much closer to the great event. So we'll be bringing that up in the second hour. And oh, and of course, we've got the early bird draw for the Lost Coast Plant Therapy seed giveaway giveaway. There we go. Already 29 in the house. Congratulations on who is going to be winning a duck in the race. And ta-da! Drum roll, please. Jones and DeGraw. Okay. I've got to tell, okay, it's time that everybody knows this little secret. Jones and DeGraw, congratulations. Again, first one in the house. Okay, there's something going on. I think there's a conspiracy going on. First one in the house. Just saying. But on that note, welcome to the show, everybody. And without any further ado, let's welcome Variables to the show. Welcome, fellas. How are you tonight? Good to see everybody. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. And let's start maybe with a little introduction for the benefit of some of our friends in chat that maybe don't know about the Variables show. Let's start with Superior Budz. Why don't you say hi to chat and introduce yourself, please?
Cheers, everybody. Just longtime home grower, little over 30 years now. Just enjoy making hash and love good medicine. So ready to enjoy the show.
Oh, thanks so much, Superior Budz. And Pedro, why don't you take the floor next, please?
Dude, I don't even know where to start, but number one, thank you very much for the intro. I definitely don't feel like I deserve that one. But no, been growing herb for 24-ish or so years. Started making hash, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. Started doing the YouTube thing 8 years ago, and kind of became known for for kind of teaching people how to make their own medicine at home, in the form of flour and now hash and now rosin. Kind of become a rosin specialist in the industry and the community, and that's where I sit now. Just hi, I'm Pedro.
Thanks very much, Pedro. And the third part of this group is Frigroli. Welcome to the show, Frigroli. Introduce yourself, please.
Cheers, everybody. It's me, Frigroli. Been here on YouTube and social media for about 10 years, growing, producing hash, debating what hash means to you and to me and to everyone. Was a host of panelists of the GrowTube back in the day. Moved on to the Michigan Bros Grow Show, which I currently host, along with the Variables podcast with these fine gentlemen here. And yeah, you can find us every Friday night streaming live at 11 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, Twitch, X, wherever you're getting it. And then, of course, after the show, Spotify, those podcast places, you'll find us. Cheers.
Cool.
Appreciate you guys inviting us on tonight. Very excited about the show.
We totally should have let Frigroli done all of our stuff. I swear to effing God, he has been writing this shit in the background for years. We used to pay him on the GrowTube channel to do the intros, but
I definitely never got paid a dime, but
Jesus
I wish that would have been part of it.
My God, dude, those intros you get, I missed all that shit. Good intro.
I also I haven't written a whole lot of that down. It's written somewhere, but it's like in the back of this brain here, and, it doesn't. I don't get it right every time, but just do it enough times, it's like muscle memory.
Well, one of the things that I pick up from the Variable Show is the one thing you have in common is the hash making. But before we dive into that, I was just curious how the Variable Show came about. You three got together.
I would say
notes.
Superior should take this one because I think he really did take the lead on it, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
One day we were just chatting and it was a question came up on Frigroli. I don't remember, a Michigan Brothers Grow Show, I believe you were on, and you said something about solventless. And then Pedro and I were talking in the background and we mentioned, we don't know everything about how BHO is done these days or solvent based. I said, it'd be really cool if we just all get in a chat one day. And so we did, and we streamed it. And during that stream, I think we said variables 100 times, just not meaning to. Literally, just as you're talking cannabis, we get into it, and it's like, well, that depends. There's a lot of variables. That depends. There's a lot of variables. And we're like, and then I think Pedro was the one that finally said it, was like, that's what we should do, is we should just call this variables because that's what it is.
That's a very good point. Yeah. We talked about that very thing. It was like in the background. I wonder how they came up with that name, and that was exactly what we were thinking about. It's so true. It's so true.
It just kind of happened organically.
Yeah, and to the point of which, we just made a clip of the like a 60-second clip of that entire show of just variables.
That clip is pretty funny.
Yeah. I don't know if do you have the ability to allow me to share on here?
Absolutely. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah,
I should be able to pull it up pretty quickly here if I can find the full playlist here.
I love seeing Pedro going in on. That's the dabs I like to see. I love seeing Pedro going in on dabs, and I said that is the fucking dab of a hash maker. That's what that is.
You can always tell when the fridge is full because the dabs are much bigger.
Yeah,
they're just getting a little lean. They start backing off.
Oh, shoot.
That's a little bigger here. There we go. Yeah, there's so many variables. It's like it's kind of like growing. It's like choose a philosophy and run with it. You're probably going to be successful, Or
you're going to keep adding more variables. You're increasing your amount of variables substantially. whether or not it's sealed is a big variable as well. To an extent, is a variable. It is definitely
100%.
And unfortunately, I think that there's too many variables there as well. Like there's just too many variables to
Right.
nail something down. Blah, 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 blah. All these other variables are way crucial variable. It starts becoming another variable in which we can track.
Cultivars are the variable we can't control. That's
And
why
here we're back to variables again.
Yeah.
We got another fucking variable.
I like to control every variable I can.
Yeah, it's another fucking variable. It's absolutely another fucking variable.
You know what we should call it? We should call the show Variables. If we're going to continue this show, Variables.
Perfect.
I'm so dramatic over there. Another fucking variable.
Yeah, I think
again.
Pedro inadvertently named it just by saying it out loud 100 times.
But I gotta say, that's
so-
what I love the most about you, Pedro. Fucking watching you on the GrowTube and you had your own channel even. It was like, it was no bullshit. It was fucking layman. It was fucking everyone understood you, and you fucking and everybody fucking identified with you because we were all just trying to figure this shit out too. And you're just like, no, just fuck. Is it this way or is it fucking this way? And
Honestly, thank you.
Call people out. I mean, you fucking stood your ground on shit, dude. Big respect.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Actually, I kind of need a reminder on that. Honestly, even recently, having lost my big Instagram channel and everything, and just things slowing down and whatnot, you start wondering whether you should change, whether you should do something different, whether you should make your posts different, whether you should grab your nipples more, whether you should, whatever. And and you just wondered whether or not you should make a change. And I've kind of come to the same conclusion. You'll see me wrestle with myself here and there on my posts, on my stories, and on my just on the posts, on the reels and whatnot. But no, for the most part, like you said, I stay real. I'm not like the other hash makers. I'm not like the other content makers. I'm definitely not. I'm Pedro for sure. So thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, it's important to have open and honest discussions because, this has been underground for so long. And, maybe for the last 10 years or so, we've been kind of publicly talking about it here on YouTube and whatnot. But we don't have all the answers, and we're continuing to find new ones. And the industry as a whole is continuing to innovate and change, sometimes quicker than we can keep up with it, especially when it comes to hype strains. But it is important that we kind of stay with it and continue to try to at least not necessarily innovate ourselves, but stay up with things and kind of like always have that flexible philosophy when it comes to growing and hash making. Because I still don't think there's any one way of doing it correctly.
Right. I've changed my system countless times in the past 10 years. Just constant. It's a constant evolution.
I've modified my system, over the years, which I guess would be changing, but for the most part, it's kind of stayed the same. I mean, for Christ's sakes, I don't know exactly where my videos started and whatnot, but I remember making hash one of the first times in my bathtub. Literally, it was still with the stack of 5-gallon buckets, but in my bathtub, so it definitely changes over the years.
So, would you mind telling us your current system now for making hash? Maybe starting with Pedro, please. Now you said it's changed over the years, but so currently, how do you prepare your hash?
So currently, I'm in a limbo stage. Went through a divorce the last year, so currently in limbo. But when I make hash and we do it commercially, and I've always got plans for a system. It's pretty much now the same way. So cold room, where you can monitor your room, your environment. generally with a cool bot and air conditioner. Very, very, simplistic, if you will. RO water. So you get an RO water feed. You get a pump, generally an on-demand sprayer of some sort. The easiest way is to use the old four-wheeler sprayer. I'm trying to think from there. Another sprayer to then clean your hash. Freeze dryer. Low temp rosin press.
Okay.
Ash
Let
and
me
rosin.
just back it up a little bit. So the room itself, like as cold as possible. That's basically what.
So
As
there's
cold as
As cold as you can stand.
Yeah, I mean, there's differences between. Boy, you want to talk variables? Holy cow! There's differences between washing and pressing, and then there's differences between your goals, between what cultivar you're washing.
Say differences, some say variables.
Yeah, the variables are freaking endless. But generally, anymore, if you're asking me for the way I wash, I'll try to keep the room pretty much as cold as possible, so that I can keep the water as cold as possible, so that I can avoid adding ice as much as possible, because I want to agitate the flour. I want to agitate it with as little agitation as possible. I just don't want to beat the flour up.
okay.
So you can keep the flour cold, i.e. keeping the trichomes and the trichome stalks cold, brittle, which will then, with a lower level of agitation, release the heads and allow for an easier collection, separation and collection. Now from there, we're going to then freeze dry the hash. And another variable, do you have the same room, right? So if you're coming back into the same room, now we've got to modify the room. Now we've got to take the room temperatures down, so that we can work with the hash, but we don't want it to be too man, I'm going to say it too many times here too. My brain just brought in another variable, because are you bringing the hash in to work it to bag it, or are you bringing the hash in to work it to press it? And then while you're bagging, if the room is too cold, it becomes just a little sandbag. So a little bit of a warmer room. So I mean, there's a lot. Do I need to say it again?
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead.
There's a lot of freaking variables.
Yeah. It's for lack of a better description. There's a lot of science involved. My goodness,
100%.
And experimentation. Yeah, for sure.
Trial and error, experimentation, that kind of thing.
Knowledge and then trial and error.
I'm sure you have a general SOP, and this is for everybody, but because this is really interesting to me. I'm sure you have like a general SOP. Is like, I want to run it like this, and this. But do you find that there really is a lot of variation between strains, that you really have to tweak it a lot for each strain or each cultivar that you run through, or is it pretty much always fall within a general SOP?
Somebody else want to take this one?
I'll take it, because I'll give the answer that Spartan will like. I do the same freaking process every time, and if the variable is the strain, and the strain wants to act a certain way, well, guess what? That strain's going to act a certain way, and if it works in my system, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know what I mean? I'm not changing my process to adjust for the strain.
Same.
I love that.
Room temp, water temp.
I knew it.
Everything is consistent.
My favorite thing to say is in the garden too, right? It's like, find the strain that fits in your garden rather than trying to make something that doesn't fit.
Yeah, there's too many variables sometimes to try to like meet the philosophy of the plant. Let's just find the plants that meet the philosophy of the grower,
Absolutely. Too many good strains out there. to choose from. So
Oh, that's
why
true too.
why make it hard on yourself?
So mine's a little different. My answer is a little different. We will absolutely follow a window of an SOP, right? Like generally fall within this window of procedure. But we do write things down. We do try to keep track of everything. So we'll write down different water temperatures. We'll write down, how much ice we use. We write down agitation rates, RPMs, water temperatures, anything and everything that we can write down. We'll try to write down. I always say when I'm doing any kind of teaching of anyone is write it down. If you don't need it, then don't write it down later. But if you need it later, you're gonna be like, "Fuck, dude, I didn't write it down." I wished I'd have written it down.
And short-term memory loss is a side effect of this medication.
Oh,
So write that
dude.
shit down.
Oh, dude.
Mine starts on a whiteboard, so it's easy to do right when you're working, and then from there into the notebook. Yeah, but I've taken Pedro's system because I learned how to make hash. What, 7 years ago from you? It's been a while, Pedro, but
Has it been that long?
yeah, it has. I've tried to eliminate variables. So I've eliminated the ice. I've created a chilled water. My RO water comes in chilled. I've tried to just reduce my number of variables, things that I knew were screwing me up because, like Pedro said, if your water temperature fluctuates, it causes, there's a big difference between 32.1 and 40-degree water when you're washing.
Don't let him fool you. He might be a host and panelist of the Variables podcast, but Superior hates variables more than anyone.
Gotta reduce the variables.
He wants repeatability.
About reducing those variables.
Just control.
So would the
variables you can.
So would the optimal temperature for the water be 32.1?
That's what I set my chiller at, but my water stays at right around 32.5.
Well, and don't forget, as long as you're moving that water, it's not necessarily going to freeze, right? So you could, if that's all you're worried about is the well, you don't
water want any crystallization in the vessel, so you don't want any ice crystals to form. You know that trick where you get water right to freezing and then you like pop the plastic bottle and that shit just goes bam.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
All it takes is one ice crystal to form, and
all right.
And it seems like it's agitation in that specific instance, or maybe atmospheric exposure or some sort of pressure difference that is actually causing that to happen. And so that's those are all the things that you're going to be experiencing while washing your hash. Is open atmosphere, most likely, definitely agitation. So
the one change that my cold water does though is it lets me bring my room temp up. So that was working in a 40-degree room for 8 and 10 hours. Holy crap, does it wear out an old ass body? I got metal in my legs that does not agree with cold. So we did the heated jacket, the heated pants.
Milwaukee heated jacket, baby.
Yep.
So real quick, let me throw this in. We've got all these variables, right? And they're absolutely correct. All these variables, right? So now you brought your water in. Right? Throw a number on it. 35 degrees. Throw a number on it. Whatever you want to throw it on. Now, you're bringing your flour in. Is it fresh frozen or is it dried? Right? Now, let's assume it's fresh frozen. Right? Now, you're throwing a bud in this size, right? A whole bag of buds this size into 35-degree water. Versus, holy shit, you had that monster that dumped the buds and has got these just donkey dicks. And you got a bag full of buds like this, right? So, big bag full of buds like this size versus frozen, full of moisture, frozen, versus a big bag of Budz this size, full of moisture, frozen, dropped into 35-degree water, right? Now, again, all variables. We use the low temp washers, so it's 75 gallons. So we got 75 degrees, 35-degree water with buds of varying sizes, right? So you can manipulate your water within a range and bring it in. So now if I've got buds that are going to be this big, they're going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of a lot more chilling, a lot more cooling, right? They're going to take a lot more BTUs, I guess, so I can bring in water that might be 45, 40 degree, temperature, and then it's going to equal out to a much lower temperature. So throwing in just a little variable like that.
That's another benefit though of the jacketed vessels, where if you're higher or lower, it's going to pull you back to your equal temperature that you're setting at in the chiller.
You can also change your harvest too. Like when we harvest everything. Shout out to my buddy Baked Pone at the Trichome Forge. We harvest everything just for concentrate, and we do the fresh frozen. But we break it up when we harvest it. Like if we have a big cola, we're not going to put that whole fucking cola in there because we're going to get pitched out. That's the first thing he's going to be. What the fuck are you doing?
100%.
So we break it. We just break it down right then.
Yeah, you got to get it down to the individual nodes. I mean, all the way up to the top, and maybe you can leave 2 or 3 nodes at the top sometimes when they're like those really dense, kind of like Cobra milk, for example. You know what I mean? Those are getting so dense and tight at the top, you might as well just chuck it in there. But you should be plopping off every nug on the way up and every node because, you want surface, exposure. You want exposure to that surface.
I agree with you 1,000,000%. But here and again, we're back to variables. We're back to, are you growing it in your room over here? Or are you running the processing in your department here and have to run over to the master grower on the other side of the street so that he can tell his 30 harvesters that they need to break the goddamn buds down because the processor
you're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
maybe the processor across the street needs to march his ass over there and just be, hey, listen, Brim crew, let me explain something to you. Watch the variables podcast, and maybe you'd learn a thing or two.
And then
we need surface exposure in the cold water.
And then this person is like, you do dabs? What? So it's
a scalability thing, you know what I mean? Like, and again, like that grower is going to have a different philosophy on why he's growing versus that processor across the street on why he's processing, and those might not match up ever, and it's just, that's one of those scalability things. You start compartmentalizing, departments, if you will, and everyone gets to make their own decisions. And down the line, you're dealing with the product you got, and hell, maybe it's some grade A top-notch product that you're really excited to wash, but maybe it's just some trash, and you just don't want anything to do with
it. So for people that, like me, that don't, I've never done the wash procedure. So you're looking at basically like a bucket, and inside the bucket you would have I'm having trouble with the bag, those
the mesh bags.
Yeah. Thank you. And then okay, I was curious. Okay, and then this all goes inside that bag. Okay. I was curious, does it, another variable, does it, the wash time, does that vary much? Again, I guess depends.
Another huge one. It's a huge variable.
Another can of worms.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't mind.
I mean, I'm not the person to explain this, and I know Pedro's doing a dab, so maybe Superior can. But it's it's one of those things where like you might be doing more than one wash too, so that timing might be shorter because you're intending to do a second wash, so to speak. But yes, Superior, please.
Yeah, just short washes and multiple washes, and you keep going until she stops dumping. the further you get, the more contamination you're gonna get. Sorry, Pedro.
was pretty
No, I was
Take
just
your
hoping you're
time.
going to keep talking, but
Yeah, sorry.
no,
But yeah.
no, you're fine. No, you're absolutely correct. I've gotten away from the short and as many as you can. Again, working in the commercial market, in the commercial industry, has gotten to me. I don't want to say necessarily cut some corners. Yes, big old fat dab, and that fucker was hot.
Yeah, but you're
I don't
doing
want to
again,
say
scalability. You have
yeah,
to
exactly
do
scalability. So
processes that
you have to pay somebody, right? So you have to make, at the end of the day, make X amount of money off X amount of product, and you got to pay these people along the line, right? So again, scalability. So does it make sense? So yes, wash times make a huge difference, and that's one of the variables that we will record and manipulate and change along the way. So again, within that window of SOPs, while we'll do generally this many washes, within that amount of washes, we'll generally hit them with this many RPMs for this long. And then we'll do this many washes, and
even at home,
and then
I find myself like you get to 4 washes or so, and if it's still going, you're like, I'm just gonna beat the shit out of it because I want the last to be done.
Yeah, and then the last one, you can just beat the F out of it, and you can use that for your absolute medicine. You can take that to your edibles.
Yep.
Well, and so maybe that's a variable that you can go back and adjust, and you guys probably have done this, but why not go for just slightly longer on that maybe second and third wash to kind of even out, how much you're getting with maybe less contamination by the end of the fourth one, where you're just beating the shit out of it because you want to be done. Is that a possibility, or now we're changing too many variables and maybe we're getting into a territory of reduced quality or something?
You can stop where the hell you want to stop along the line for whatever reason you want to stop for. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you can even just wash that first one to take, with plans to take that to rosins. You're gonna just beat it up very lightly, and maybe you're gonna use all of the bags, and you're gonna separate all of them, and you're gonna press them all separately. For that first wash, but you're only gonna wash it at X amount of RPMs and at X amount of time. But then the second one, boy, you're going to throw it in and you're going to get it. And maybe you're going to add a little bit of ice to this one. So you can drop that temp down and maybe up the agitation level a little bit. Because you're just going to end up, yes, you're pressing rosin out of it, but the rosin isn't going to go to my smokable. That was what my first wash was. The rosin's going to go to my edibles. So yeah, beat the fuck out of it. But you're still going to do 4 or 5 washes, maybe.
Right. I'll smoke my first and second, sometimes my third, depending on the cultivar. But my third and fourth usually is just edible stuff. Because by the fourth, sometimes you end up with some shit. I mean, it looks like pesto on the damn tray. Like, what the hell did I do?
Hey fellas, yeah. I'm really going. I was just going to say I'm really enjoying the conversation, but somebody just said something.
No, I was gonna. Somebody had said that, aren't we using cannabis to reduce carcinogens? Yes, I went in entirely too hot on that dab, which is another variable, right? The temperature that you go in on a dab.
Yeah.
So what do you like?
Cold starts?
What's comfortable for you? I saw somebody else mention a 900-degree dab, and I'm pretty sure I heard that don't terps turn carcinogenous once it's over 700.
Yeah.
He also said a 10-gram dab, so I think he might have been being.
Oh no, I know. Yeah. I got the hyperbole of it, but.
So I want to give a shout out to the show, and I hope I don't get the name of the podcast wrong, but it's Hot Dabs, I believe, is the name of the podcast. And they've got a thing there, and I agree with it 100%. Kind of figured this out on my own over the years, and they confirmed it by naming it, and it's called D2T right there. Bear grows it. D2T, dab to temp, right? So your temperature, it can go either way. Your temperature of your dab, the temperature that you go in at, can determine your
How
the
hot.
size of your dab, or your dab can determine the size of your how hot you go in at. I'm trying to say this right, but I fucked my last D2T up, so it's hard. So essentially, the higher your temperature, the bigger your dab should be. Or if your dab is huge, the higher your temperature needs to be. We don't want to be adding temperature. We don't want to be reheating. We don't want to be screwing around. We want to be making sure that we're doing what we want to do on the first temperature, on the first dab.
And the best way to do that is by using an e-nail. It's the best way to keep your temperatures consistent.
You have a girly code with that?
An unsolicited ad.
Guess I gotta start
I
calling.
definitely agree with that. I've never taken I've never been rich enough, I'm pretty bankrupt most of the time, to be able to go in on anything more than just a dab here and there sort of a thing. So seeing somebody go in with a 10-gram dab, or even yourself, like what size dab are you grabbing then when you can just go in?
First of all, why didn't I know this before the show? We could have fixed this and we could have had real fun on the show. Those two dabs that I just did, they were probably a third to half gram each.
Okay.
So,
Okay, and then what are you looking for temperature-wise when you heat it up then? You just know the temperature you like it for that size, so you'll aim for it, or is it?
I'm really not trying to say it as much as it's coming up.
Oh, I want you to.
You can say, hey, how about this one, Pedro? It depends.
It depends. There you go. It depends. No, seriously, there's a lot of variables. I use a dab right.
Okay.
Right, and this is a dab right Pro, and it's got a lens on it that can, when it starts getting dirty, because we've got smoke through the room and whatnot, when it starts getting dirty, it can read different temperatures and different units. I have another one sitting around here somewhere. Different units can read different temperatures, right? And you can have different style bangers or nails that you're going in on. So they'll require different temperatures.
Okay, so that's called a banger and a nail, though?
So this is what I don't know anymore. Jesus Christ.
I know.
I guess this would be a banger, a bucket, a banger, a flat. This would be a flat bottom.
The nail part is what I'm confused on.
So am I. This is where it seriously gets funny. This is what I was told is a hybrid. I was always under the impression this was a blender, but I was informed that this is a hybrid. This is a blender, I believe.
Oh, okay.
This is from Ron. God damn it, I can't think of Ron's last name. Puke and Beagle, but I can't think of Ron's last name. And then this one is from Victory High Life. So what I was told from Ron, Puke and Beagle, who is kind of coined the godfather of quartz, I guess, is he told me that quartz is quartz. It's the welds that makes the difference. So if you have a shitty weld, it can hold oil and turn black, and it can also, I don't know, ask Ron. But so it really so back to the original question, temperatures. It seriously does depend on which banger or nail you want to use. So I like to use the blender or a slurper style, and each one of those can be different as well because they can have thickness of the quartz itself that's used. It can have how thick the inner diameter of
Okay.
the slurper is itself. It can also the intakes, at the bottom of the blenders can be different diameter.
The neck width, whether you got 10, 14, 18 millimeter, the airflow changes.
And I mean, and then you've got height too. So if you want to go just a big boy crazy, just stupid size, I probably should use that when I'm going in on my grams. So I like to use a blender style. I try to overheat a little bit. Try to heat evenly, but overheat so that when it comes down in temperature, it comes down consistently. For Girly, I know he's writing shit down over there right now. So
solving all of your issues since
so it comes
2012 is an email.
And where is the code?
So the only thing is with that is he's limited to taking little baby dabs and not men dabs like this.
How
Just
so?
saying.
Why would you say that?
Because how are you gonna heat this up with that?
How do you get the sides all the way up?
Exactly.
This is the one for the slurpers. We discussed this, I think, on the Michigan Bros Grow show. The fact that this is that much wider. Give me a moment. I might even be able to.
But when you're pulling up the oil, it's going to hit the side of that glass wall, and it's going to more solidify. It's going to cool quicker. It's not going to stay in oil and.
Yes, you're not going to heat up the top of it like the sides of it near the top like you would. And so definitely recommend, a wider dish, right, versus a taller neck. You're going to be limited that way. But if all else fails, grab your torch and heat the neck, I guess. I don't know if you really want to be that crazy. But what I would say is, like the dab to heat or heat to dab or D2
dab the temp.
Dab the temp, yeah. Just turn your enel up. It's kind of the same philosophy, I guess, in that way. I keep, again, like my process doesn't change. My enel temp doesn't change. So it just sits there at, it's reading 575, but it's actually operating probably around 520 to 540 because this thing is so old. It's not that accurate, but here we are 100,000 dabs later or something like that. But yeah, I got a trusty backup here. I haven't used this more, I don't know, maybe like twice just because that thing's still running. So listen, I don't know if the hydrocarbons to wattage usage is the same. I'm sure there's an energy argument there too, but
there's been a lot of people over the years who have spent a lot of money on enel units and heater units, recent and or not. And I will tell you that 90% of them end up back at the same fucking place. And I can't explain to you. Ask all of them if you want to. But I've got them both on my desk, and you see which one I'm using. And probably 80%, let's call it 70%, 75, do the same thing. So...
at a show, no one's walking around with the enel, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of Puffcos and knockoffs and similar things to that, but there's just as many torches.
You know what, Free Girly? I've seen this little belt pouch that moms can wear with their kid to sit on it, and I'm gonna get you one modified to have an enel for it.
They have one. They have.
Oh, they have one. I'm so sorry. I didn't know they already made one for you.
Yeah, just
a solar panel on the back.
Now, I will say, man, now there is absolute uses for, and that's actually why I bought this thing over here. And I don't want to get into this on this show, but I think there's absolute uses for an enel situation because sitting around, especially with the style that I like to, it requires a bucket or two of ice of alcohol, and it requires a towel. It requires
when you're cleaning, then in between dabs, you're dunking.
Yeah. I've got three of them in cycle here because it's a pain in the ass to kind of do. So now, if I've got 3 or 4 friends that come in, I've got to dick around and do 3 or 4 of them. I might have to have 3 or 4 rigs. I got to do so with an enel, or even at a sesh, especially at a sesh. The only thing argued with the sesh is having an email is cords and breaking rigs and burning the fucking place down. So keep
let me
that
just
in
explain it to
mind.
you, Pedro.
Probably
It's
sacrificial
there's-
bang too, because it's probably gonna be by the end of that fucking sesh.
I'll give you my philosophy or my variables or my perspective on why I use an e-nail, and it's convenience. Just like the Puffco, it's convenience. I don't buy expensive glass because I break glass all the time. I've done it way too many times. I don't own the same rig more than a couple of years. It's fallen off dollies. It's dropping out of my hands on the concrete while I'm sitting there 2 feet, or like literally 12 inches off the concrete and shattering, and cleaning things too hard and internal glass pieces just shattering it within it. And I'm not trying to inhale that. I just don't buy expensive glass like you. If I were to have thousands or tens of thousands of dollars invested into glass and hundreds if not thousands of dollars invested into bangers, I think I would feel differently about e-nails because of the way they chaz the bangers, and it's pretty much a guarantee. Also the way like you're saying, that just the safety of it, right? I'm so delicate when someone walks up to me with their nice rig all heated up and a dab tool ready to go of some rosin because they wanted to share it with me. Like, I'm ready to go on that any day of the week. But also the e-nail is ready to go any day of the week, any hour of the day, any minute of the day, as long as that switch is turned on. For me, it's convenience. But I'm also rocking, $120 rig with a $35 banger and an e-nail that I bought literally 10 years ago. So I don't know. It just works for me. Plus a Puffco fits in a cup holder. Come on.
Yeah, I've been looking at the Puffcos again. I miss the convenience. I love a torch if I'm sitting at my desk, but got to be able to.
Yeah, it's not the same dab. I mean, you want to talk quality and having the best optimal dab, I guess we'll call it the optimal dab. I mean, I'm busting out the tech. I'm checking the temperature as I'm dropping it onto my nail. I'm making sure that bangers and the rig probably is clean, just spotless.
Yeah, you definitely got to make sure it's spotless. But man, generally for a taste session, anyways, which is what is it your instance, your situation, you want it at that lower temperature, anyways, and you want to try to make sure that you're maintaining that. So you don't want the oops variable that Pedro fucking temped it wrong on the wrong side or heated it wrong or this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, you got wind, you got all these other factors, and think about at 5 years ago, the last time there was a Cannabis Cup, with High Times, and where I won those 2 trophies behind me, there was sometimes 35, 40 people lined up ready to take a dab at our booth. And it's like,
that's so hard to maintain with any kind of
doing that with a
torch situation.
Try doing that.
Oh, dude. No, I don't want to try, dude. Not, especially not with any kind of quality glass or quartz or anything.
I've had glass broken at events. People,
and you'd probably, in that instance, you'd probably have to have multiple torches because, I mean, even though you can run these things for a very long time,
you got to bust out your whole crew to run.
They start getting hot, so you don't want to burn yourself. Yeah, you definitely got to have butane. I definitely have butane fucking
20
pounds everywhere. We do have butane.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious that I'm going to have to break out my torch and show the boys what a real torch is all about. But I'm going to have to not right now. I'm going to have to excuse myself. A buddy's going to be dropping by for a minute, but
well, that's okay. I thought we were maybe doing a show or something, but no, go ahead, get your buddy to come by.
Do you have one of those torches that you melt snow off your driveway with? Is that what you're talking about?
It's scary. It's scary. It's not an Elon Musk one, but it's scary. But I love the way this show is going. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I want to remind everybody at the top of the hour, because I forgot to mention it earlier, Blunts and Beans is going to be dropping by to tell us all about Camp Canna in Alberta this year. And there was a few other things I wanted to catch up on. No. Other than I said, I'm enjoying the way the show is going. I was wondering. Oh, you see, that's my second joint. That's okay. Okay, no, it's
Side effects
coming
of the
back to me.
medication. That's okay, Rick.
I wanted to ask you for Goldie. I know Superior and Pedro talked about their washing styles, and if there was anything else you wanted to add to that portion of the process.
Well, I'll just kind of make you aware of what I'm utilizing. It's a closed loop system, so it's all stainless steel with gaskets in between them. I do use one. I have no idea what micron, but one stainless steel mesh gasket to kind of hold back the material, and then usually one or two unbleached coffee filters as like a kind of similar use to kind of just hold back material. But in terms of filtration, that all gets done through dry ice. So I have a sleeves column, materials column that is 2-pound column. So very small batches when we're talking hydrocarbon. Most of your commercial setups are going to be anywhere from like the smallest I've seen is 5 pounds, but they can get up to 50 or more pounds at a time. Running a lot of material through with hydrocarbons is it's an efficiency thing and a scalable efficiency too. But I'm operating at a 2-pound kind of craft level system. It's essentially a 1 pound, a modified 1 pound Apollo closed loop system from Best Value Vacs. I've dinged up some pieces and needed to replace some valves and things along the way. So I've upgraded some parts, made some parts bigger. I think I'm using a 10-inch base with a splatter platter. So no kind of, it's hot water baths for recovery. It's all passive. The tech has come a long way since I started using this style system, but oddly enough, it's actually come back to that method. It's just making things more efficient at a certain scale. But yeah, I'm operating at temperatures somewhere between like -40 to -70 degrees Fahrenheit. So my room temperature isn't all that important. It's more or less just keeping the unit itself super chilled, and that allows me to leave back things like chlorophyll, fats, lipids, kind of any kind of sort of contaminants, and you're left with, in my case, about 98% of the time, a live resin product on the other end, through which post-processing will manipulate the material into something like a sauce. We're talking diamonds, terps that can be added to carts, whipped into batters. I got a couple examples of that right here, actually. So this would be a clementine batter that was whipped, and clementine is one of those ones that's super, super terpy. So you whip it, and it'll stay like this liquid form until you separate enough or give it enough atmospheric exposure to kind of batter up. And you get this kind of like nice little kind of crystally effect there. And then from my good friend and panelist on this show, Spartan Grown, he was nice enough to provide me with a cut of his Cobra milk, which I don't think he's growing anymore. But it fit my terp profile, which is something I was looking for. It's like a Fruity Pebbles Tricks kind of cereal. So jealousy crossed with cereal milk makes Cobra milk. And this one is the one that confuses everyone all the time, and they think it's rosin. Like every time I put the jar of this open, and that's just a material difference. Has nothing to do with my process or really even post-processing method. That is just the strain itself. So that's one of those strain variables. My third example I'll give you, like I talked about separating or manipulating terps, manipulating the material and separating terps. This would be like a example of some diamonds, if you will, or the THCA kind of broken up there. That's a grapefruit Durban. And then in addition to that, what gets separated out of that somewhat naturally, I guess, if you will, just time and pressure, is the terpene portion. So you can see it looks very dark because it's a concentrated form. I'm not going to get that all in focus, but you can see how viscous that is. And that you could put right into like a cartridge, and don't have to decarb it or anything. I mean, you get a little bit more efficiency obviously if you do that, but it's just a really flavorful way of consuming it, I think. But in that concentrated form, something like a clementine terpene profile can be a bit much. Isn't that right, Pedro? So yeah, I'm closed loop system hydrocarbon. I use a hydrocarbon blend. So it's a tri-blend of N-butane, isobutane, and propane. That allows me to operate a little bit wider range of temperatures, pressures, and collecting a bit more of the cannabinoid and terpene profile from the plant. Yeah, I'm just all about trying to keep it like clean. So I do pretty much all fresh frozen, almost all single source. If I'm running anything like trim or dry material, it's probably just for edibles or topicals. So I love making my topicals. My 300 milligram whipped body butter. It's just, I mean, it's incredible for
I
like
mentioned that last week on the show. It's been a while.
I got a fresh batch for you.
While it's on my mind, everybody's that you see on the show, their Instagram handles are in the show notes. A couple of times this evening, I noticed we hit 100 in chat. We love you, chat. And gone again. Oh, speaking of gone, we got to be talking in the next hour about Gone in 60. But that was, I know what was on my mind. There's an upside and a downside to having more than one guest. I really do appreciate, giving each of you the equal time. But the way this boomer brain works, it ain't gonna happen. So, Superior, forgive me. I've got another question for Frigoli and a couple more if Pedro ever stops coughing. Frigoli, you attend a lot of events, and can you tell me about your schedule coming up?
So yeah, actually this Saturday, August 10th, we'll be at the Third Eye Craft Fair Traveling Circus in Lapeer, Michigan. It's a new venue for us. And looking forward to seeing everybody there. We'll have, of course, everything I mentioned, the Cobra Milk, the Clementine, the grapefruit. I almost said grapefruit Durban. Wow, it's been a while. The grape Fun Dip, both GFDs. So I get myself confused sometimes with those plant tags. I'm like, no, that's not grapefruit Durban. That's been gone for a while. But yeah, August 10th is kind of the only immediate plans we have for this weekend. After that, it's really dependent on harvest schedule, Rick. So, being a solo caregiver, always, sticking to my plant counts, doing this for over 10 years, it's not like I have a deep inventory of medicine or plants. Like I've even recently been, what do they call it? Not dry, but there's a word for it.
Yeah, dry.
Yeah. Hashless, you know what I mean? Like and that's not a fun situation to be in. Bankrupt, that's the word. Thank you. Yeah, you never want to be bankrupt, especially as a grower yourself. It's like a huge reason why you're doing this is to grow for yourself, you know what I mean? And if you're not providing yourself with medicine, it's like, dang. So right now we've got a lot of plants in flower, going into flower, and then cycling through with the clones and all that. So it's not really something I can always plan a couple months out. The only one I really do plan for that far out would be the Hash Bash Cup, and that's just because I have to plan that far out to be able to even make that worth my while. So it's literally like 6 months of preparation and making sure plants are going in, cloned at the right time, and then going into veg and flower and all that at the right time, so that they can be harvested and processed and packaged and all that. So, but I do try to maybe once a month we're getting out there, sometimes twice a month. Definitely follow Third Eye Craft Fair, obviously Hash Bash Cup. Some of the other venues or vendor promotional people, I guess, that kind of come and go, and there's some that are kind of solventless focused events. So those ones I'm not even really allowed to vend at. So that's cool. There's definitely still some elitism going on in the industry, but it is what it is. Just follow my Instagram. That's probably the best way to keep up with that kind of news. And then also make sure you're clicking on stories. I know not everyone has the time or interest in watching people's stories, but it's one of those things where the algorithm knows what you like, and what you like is just what you click on, apparently. So go ahead and click on some stories of everybody here, in this panel, and it'll make sure it's at the top of your feed next time, I think. And it's not always getting posted on the feed. Sometimes it's in the stories, and those go away after 24 hours. So make sure you're staying up.
Good tip. Good tip. Hey, welcome, Alexis. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Did you have something for her, Lily Bud? No?
Oh.
I do
I
not,
don't know.
man. I am sorry.
Okay. Hey, no, it's all good. I don't keep track of this stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for dropping by. Starting with, you had an event in Ontario this year. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, so we brought Camp Canna, our event that we host in Alberta. This is our third year now, to Ontario this year, and it was a completely different experience. And it was super, super fun and nourishing and exciting and really great to meet the Ontario fam and get to know them on like a quality basis. It was all inclusive, so we got fed and housed all weekend. We got to try a bunch of things that we don't ever really get to try, like rock wall climbing, kayaking. There was some inflatable water toys on the lake. The venue was absolutely phenomenal and super dignified in allowing us with cannabis consumption on site. And we got to support a local retailer to the area with delivery. And yeah, the brands that got involved and the people that came were just amazing. So tickets are up for next year already, first weekend in June for Ontario. And Alberta is next week. So I'm really excited for that as well.
Fantastic. And tell me about the attendance. People, how
Yes.
many people attended and where did they come from and that kind of stuff?
In Ontario, we didn't have much attendance. We had about 50 people, and they came from Alberta. They came from all over Ontario, Toronto, Ottawa, all sorts of different areas, smaller towns, Barrie. I know the High Ladies came from there. We had some people come up from the States, which is really cool.
Cool.
It was the very first year, and with cannabis events, as much of us know, promotions and marketing is very limited. It truly is word of mouth, but that's how we built it in Alberta. You know, our first year was a small gathering, and we just executed it really, really well, made sure everybody had a really good time. And, you know, that word of mouth spread. And when we came back year two, we had, over 200 people in Alberta. So that's what we're hoping for next year in Ontario as well. Just make sure that we keep executing really good experiences, and the word will spread and they'll grow naturally over time.
Cool. Yeah, please. Yeah. Sorry, my buddy just dropped by. Okay, now, and then the dogs were barking, and I missed a lot of the last part, but did you, tell me again, if you told everybody else, all 99 of them, tell me again, please, about this event coming up this weekend.
Yeah,
Where
so this
and when
weekend is the third Camp Canna in Alberta. It's always the third weekend in August. I'm really excited about this year because we finally got a public permit. So this is the very first public permitted consumer-focused event with dignified consumption in the province and arguably the country, because I don't think many provinces have allowed these such things to happen. And if we're going a little wider than that, I think it's really just a good example of creating a responsible framework and making sure that everybody's enjoying the true cannabis culture, dignified in what we're doing. We're not doing anything wrong. It's safe. It's a great environment. And I find that when you continue to do things like that, the government can't do anything but agree with you. Our municipal government is in support of us, and our provincial government understands what we're doing. We have an on-site retailer this year, which is really neat. We have a store so you can purchase cannabis on site for the first time. So lots of good changes this year, but not a lot to the program. We have live music, we do yoga, we've got a meditation and sound baths, we have gourmet chefs in the kitchen, we have excellent coffee, as always with Blunts and Beans. We have to have good coffee on site. There's a vendor market, and this year it's so much bigger than it's ever been. We have so many more brands involved than we've ever had. And that just goes to show that, you know, it's the industry is starting to really pay attention to investing in the consumer experience. And I think that that was maybe missed in the first 5 years of legalization, but now it's really coming around that it's more than just consuming. It's about what we do after we consume and making sure that people have a good experience there as well. So
do you have a medicated menu? Like, do you have a medicated menu?
Unfortunately, not yet. The Alberta government, AGLC, isn't on board with serving cannabis just yet. We do have in our retailer, you can purchase pre-rolls, extracts, edibles, beverages, anything like that you would normally purchase in your retail store. That's available right now. And what I'm hoping is that the information that we gather from this event, since we do have a retail store on site, is if people will self-govern their own consumption, then really there's no reason why we can't introduce restaurants and lounges with the gathering of the information. That's what we've been doing over the years, is kind of just providing a report on what happened. Because when we first started this, we found that, you know, they just didn't know what was going to happen if they let a cannabis festival go down. And so now we've kind of showed them, like, obviously we know, but we had to show them. And so
what you're doing is groundbreaking, and congratulations. This is something that is needed so desperately to normalize cannabis and cannabis consumption, and that's exactly what you're doing. That's fantastic. Listen, I really do appreciate you dropping by, and you're welcome to stay for the rest of the show. I'm going to have to excuse myself for a second, but when I do, Pedro, would you mind telling everybody about the charity that you and your daughter have put together?
Yeah, I guess I can try to take that one. I'm trying not to feel bad over here after all that talk. We're ripping 0.5 gram dabs and talking about things responsible consumption, but. So I do have a little bit of a charity on the side. It's called Wave of Smiles. Started it with my daughter, actually, just on the side, and it's just Wave of Smiles on Instagram. Real small little thing here. I can't even believe it was brought up. It kind of caught me off guard when it was originally brought up, so I had nothing prepared as far as how to explain this or how it came about or anything like that. But essentially, I've always just kind of had a big heart. I always liked helping people. I've got a 5-year-old daughter, so obviously I want to try to pass that along to her. You know, to instill in her to have a big heart, to be sensitive. You know, to understand. People have different situations. They come from different places. You know, and to have a big heart and to help people, to do nice things for people. And so when I did the first one, I decided to record it and post it, and it was kind of a big thing. Everybody was, it was very, very positive about it, I guess. You know, there was very positively received, and a lot of people told me that maybe I should start up a GoFundMe, so that I could do more of these videos and more of these nice things. And since then, we've got a couple donations on the site, but I honestly haven't checked it. I don't think we've gotten much, but I've got 1 or 2 donations on the site over there, and I think but I just like to go out and do the videos. I'm not too worried about, the funding. The cool thing, and what was just making me stumble there, is the cool thing about it is anymore we generally do it driving out of the grocery store. We'll like to try to go grab some groceries for them, or try not to just give money if we can. But now my daughter's asking me as we're driving out of these places, Dad, can we go find somebody to do something nice for her, And so she's already, even after a couple of posts, asking and doing nice things for people. And man, I tell you what, she tries to give any of her little toys to her friends. She wants to give things to. She's such a giver. If any one of her friends comes over and likes one of her toys, she's like, you can take it, you can have it, So she's such a little sweetheart.
I really like how you're including your kids with it, or your kid with it, because I think it does make a huge difference to them. I've got 2 little boys, and maybe like a year ago or so, we had gone for Subway and pulled in to grab, sandwiches for dinner. And I was just going to run in, and grab the food and come back to the car. And there was a homeless man, or, a man down on his luck, basically, at the usual spot in that area with the plaza. And I'd seen him, went inside and got my sandwich with my kids ordered, and then had asked them, hey, do you mind just making me one more sandwich and make it plain? Do you mind putting this on the side? Could you put this on the side? And they're like, oh, do you want any, what vegetables? And I'm like, oh, let's do basic ones. Just keep them on the side. And they're like, okay, what are you wanting? And I'm like, well, actually, I'm just trying to make a sandwich to give to that guy out there, but I don't know what he likes, so I don't want to put something on he doesn't like. And they're like, oh, no problem. So they hooked it up, went crazy on the extra sides for it, paid for the sandwich, went out there. I dropped off the one to my son, just handed it, to him through the window, and was like, hold on a second. And I ran over to the guy and gave him the sandwich and just said, here's some food for you. Good luck. And went back to the car. And as we're driving off, my kid, he is, 20 questions right away. He's like, what did you do that for? Do we know him? Why are you doing that? What did you do that for? Is he going to give us something? Are we going to take him to dinner? And I'm like, no, babe, we got him some food. He needed some food. I had extra money and we helped him out. And now he's going to have a good dinner. He might even have enough to share if he's got some kids that he's going back to, and the next time we drove past, he's like, hey, can we see if he needs any food? And I'm like, no, he's not even here today. It's okay. But I think it really sticks with them and just shows them doing something kind can really change somebody's day, let alone their life.
Yeah, here. Eagle always talks about random acts of kindness, and I've got to. I tell stories, but I don't want to repeat them too many times. But I know I've told this one before, but I haven't told it to the variables or I'm sorry, Alexis. So I've been through high points and low points in my life, and this was one of the lower points. They're all high points. I was probably high at the time. Anyway, I was working in a restaurant and delivering pizza, actually. And
you were definitely high at the time then.
Hey, what's that bite out of my pizza, man? Anyway, so I got back to the restaurant after a delivery, and there was a guy behind there, and he said, "Listen, man, I'm short. I need money for the bus." And I really couldn't afford it, but something made me give him a couple of bucks. So when I went back into the restaurant, I told the owner's wife what just happened. And she looked at me and she said, "You give with one hand and you take with the other." And boy, oh boy, that really stuck with me. Just give an act of kindness and you'll get it back. It'll come back to you. But that whole, so I'm glad we opened this conversation. Okay, nothing more to add. Oh, damn, I'm picking on Pedro again, and I got to come up with something for Superior.
You're
Pedro,
fine.
could you please? Okay, well, no, I'm coming up with one for you. Pedro, could you please try to explain to this old fart the science behind that? It spins. It spins in there. What's going on with
about
that?
the Opal set.
The recycler here that I have.
Yeah,
just the cycling of water, the moving of water.
No. He's talking about the pearls that you put in.
Oh, inside here.
Yeah, the pill.
Yeah,
What-
yeah.
What's going on? What is this little guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? What's going on with that?
Okay.
Science.
Yeah, science. Couple easy words: heat retention and surface area, and kind of one and the same a little bit, because you've got different ones. So this is a hollow. Here we go, variables, baby. This one here that I have is I'm trying to find the other one off camera real quick as I'm talking. This one here is a hollow one, and I have a solid pillar as well. And so essentially, what you do is you heat them up. As long as they're quartz, which these are, I heat them up I heat them up inside the banger, heat them up inside the blender themselves. And then when I drop the dab in there, it moves the oil around, breaks it up, if you will, a little bit, spreads it out like a butter knife, spreads butter over bread. But it's also the surface area. So you're going to, in a blender type situation, you're going to get so much more vapor in your lungs in such a shorter period of time, that it's kind of like, like when we were getting, sometimes I almost said something I didn't want to say there. There are times when me or my friends will turn down hitting a blender, where they'll be fine hitting a flat bottom or a regular banger, but they'll be like, no, I'm good on the blender. So yeah, that's and then when you get the solid pillars instead of the hollow ones, they'll hold heat a lot longer. So when you start talking about D2T and variables, you can go in on a much bigger dab. I mean, you can fluctuate as much as you want, but now it's essentially your blender is going to hold heat for a lot longer. So go nuts, So that is essentially,
Okay.
and then there's I've got a whole bucket full of little marbles and stuff back here, and some things are cool. Some things look cool when they're moving around. There's a little bit of an aspect of just liking the way it looks and what it does.
There's all sorts of different sizes.
Yeah,
they can be
Oh,
carb
wow.
caps. They
Yeah.
can go inside. There could be I'll pull it back up. There could be circular. They can be the pill or pillar shape.
Yeah.
They can be hollow. They can be solid. And like you're saying, it's dependent on whether you want heat retention, you want a little bit maybe more airflow and surface area. I like yeah, there you go. I've got a couple of those in my current banger with my Eno, because I like to have two of them spinning around, and they've got to be small enough that they can spin around with like.
They got to make the noise.
Yeah, they got.
Got to spread the oil around.
See?
Exactly, it's surface area, heat
Uncle Rick.
distribution.
Uncle Rick's trying to cut in here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for dropping by, Alexis. Say good luck with Camp Canna, and I'm excited to hear all the reports back.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Bye.
Okay, take
So
care.
you too.
Just know real quick,
And back to the show.
as we're talking about all these different accessories for putting in your banger or your blender or whatnot. If it's not quartz, don't heat it up in your banger or blender or hybrid, whatever you have.
What if it's ruby?
Yeah, what about a ruby insert?
I'm not the expert. Go ask Ron.
Okay.
But no, seriously, I wouldn't chance it. But I'm not the expert. I just know that if it's not quartz, don't heat it up in it. And that's because of an explosion factor. Again, I'm not an
Yeah,
expert.
the
Go
cheap
ahead,
glass
go on.
ones you definitely don't want to heat up. Those ones will explode on you, or at least crack.
Yeah. Also, there's different carcinogens coming off of like metals and stuff too at certain temperatures. That's why we got away from TI and all these, metal coils and things like that. Typically, glass is the safest. I don't know about ruby. I've tried a ruby insert myself. I just didn't like the way it was working, quite frankly. But I also use the e-nail and don't, dump the whole thing in ISO every time. So it's probably not made for me. I'll stick to my little balls spinning around.
But have you ever tried an e-nail for Growly? Have you ever tried that?
If you guys didn't know, the best way to dab, most convenient, is probably with an e-nail coil. They come in different shapes, sizes, and you can operate them at different temps. They plug into a wall. They can stay on 24/7. You can take dabs as many as you want, as big as you want, as small as you want, as cold as you want, as hot as you want.
You can completely forget they're there and then bump into them and burn the shit out of yourself.
I've done that quite a few times.
So this isn't to be a smart ass, and I think I kind of know the answer, but I want to hear it live or hear it here anyways, whatever. Have you ever had blender, hybrid, whatever, slurper, dab, and have you ever had like a fucking sit you down like a half or a full gram and a half big boy dab, excessive, stupid, I shouldn't have went there kind of dab? Have you ever had one of those?
Who are you asking?
Okay, my intent to have one of those. I want to. There's a get together, like an event out here called Hareem, and they have dab offs. And I've seen some of the fucking globs that these guys will put down, and they have somebody heating for them so that they can like be dabbing while it's heating and shit. Like, I want to do a monster glob at one of those.
Unfortunately, you'll only find solventless dabs at that event.
Yeah, so I don't go to those very often. I gotta represent you for Growly. I will say that.
No, that was originally for Growly.
I've certainly done half gram dabs before. Probably not much, if at all, bigger than that. It's just, it's just. I get it, but it's not really for me. I'm probably more in the range of like a 1/4 gram on the regular. If I'm taking like I don't know.
I mean, that's a big dab.
Yeah, I would say it's a big dab. I think at the smallest is probably 1/10 of a gram, and that's what I'm just trying to get a little teener in. You know what I mean? Before I do something or go somewhere. But the last dab of rosin I took was served to me at an event. And it was just put in front of my face and said, go, go, go. It was probably about 1/3 of a gram, I would say. And it was on a slurper, and I have no idea what the temperature was or anything. It just came across the table and said, go, go, go. But it was someone I trust and know, and, and more than happy to consume his cannabis. I've also done slurper dabs off of, the e-nail, like I was showing. Not really my favorite experience, just because that style banger gets a lot dirtier, as you guys know, and it's a lot harder to clean if it's on an e-nail. So it's kind of like, well, what's the point? So I kind of just stick to like the auto spinner or flat bottom bangers. But yeah, I have experienced those. Why do you ask?
He's just taking names. And our seed sponsor for the evening is Superior Budz. Thank you very much. If you want to get that thing all set up there, little E-Bud, and maybe Superior Budz, if you wouldn't mind telling us about the packs. Oh, 2-packs. Oh, thank you very much. Is that going to one winner, 2-packs?
However you want to do it. These are half packs. So they're just small packs. I think 5 to 6.
Let's go to one. Okay, we're going to go to one winner. And could you maybe tell us a bit about the parentage and your inspiration behind making those seeds?
So these are not mine. These are from Ocean Grown. So
okay, yeah.
I've been a tester for them for a while now, and so these are some of the ones that we did a year back. Very good results from both of them. I think whoever gets them is going to really enjoy them.
Uh,
I'll have to read
Tell me about them.
lineage on both of these. I don't actually remember.
I do recall Shockwave F2. I think I got some of those seeds possibly myself. What was the other one? I don't recognize that one.
San Andreas Diesel. So
Okay.
that's your
That's a
sour
newer-
diesel cross.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want to open them.
That's good. Right on.
Upside down. Hold on.
Right on.
Sour diesel original, sour
Very
diesel.
cool.
And then otherwise the seeds are in the way.
I got you.
Let's see if I can keep it
And
out.
you said you
Shockwave and Alien Rift. There we go.
whoop. Right on. Cool. So I wanted to what did I actually it was just mentioned a minute ago, but I wanted to ask actually again. It seems like I'm picking on Pedro, and he's right in the middle of a dad
No,
talk.
we're good.
I think
We're
I'm
good,
gonna
man.
He was just
That recovery is precision, my guy.
He was just dying.
Whoa! I'm
got it.
impressed.
I
I'm
told you. I was
impressed.
trying to. I said it in chat. I take advantage of the talking of you guys chatting over there and the mute button to do my coughing. So what's up?
Oh shoot! I wanted to. Okay, well, actually, I wanted to throw this out to our panel, our guests, about cleaning of your apparatus. What you use, is it like alcohol, straight alcohol, or salt? Some people have different styles.
Christ.
I'll go first
Again, do
because
we-
this is so incredibly important to me, and I think I take it much further. I actually think I take it further than any other hydrocarbon processor I've ever met, and I'm sure they exist out there, but I don't think they do at the commercial level. I typically use, well, first of all, I typically clean every single centimeter of stainless steel on my closed loop system before every single run, before and after, if you will. I clean every single gasket, every single sight glass, every little inch of that system I'm cleaning between every single run. And the only instance in which I wouldn't do that is if I'm running back-to-back batches. But even then, I'm still cleaning the clothes or the materials column. I just might be leaving a little extra in the splatter platter just to get collected next time, because I know there's no difference there. On top of that, I use D-lemonine to clean most of my, especially my gaskets, because it has less wear on them. But yeah, it's essentially a straight purified terpene that Best Value Vax sells, and I'll use either that or 99.98, I think it is, percent lab grade ethanol. And that's just dependent on what I have at the time. But I'm typically trying to use D-lemonine. And the reason I use D-lemonine is because it evaporates quicker than ethanol, than iso, than anything else I've used. And it also breaks down that really sticky oil that is sometimes so hard to clean off, that to the point where you're needing to soak it in, ethanol or iso. And I don't like having to wait and soak things. So I'll just use a solvent that's a little bit more aggressive, and then I can,
Well, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Gee, you can dab and talk all.
Did I tell you guys about the beauty of an e-nail and how it's just always ready to go?
Oh, do tell.
And thank you for reminding me. We're going to do a little jumping around here, but I wanted to Pedro. I wanted to ask you: is the GoFundMe can we find the link in your Instagram, or will your Instagram take us to your website, or
It's already in there, Rick.
Oops, I've done this once or
Yeah,
twice.
it's good.
I think it is, but if it's not, I think it's just Wave of Smiles, just literally Wave of Smiles, all one word.
Okay, and thank you, Ty.
Should be-
Ty
oh,
did-
there it is.
there
Oh, perfect.
there
Awesome.
it is, right there.
Thank you, guys. I
Okay,
appreciate
thanks,
that. I didn't expect that at all. Again, this was just something cool I was expecting to kind of do with my daughter and whatnot. And I'm such a big effing sap. Like I will start crying. If somebody gets kicked off a game show, I'm crying. Like, like I am such a wuss. Not a wuss, but I'm just a big sap. So when I watch these videos and whatnot, and I start crying, and I guess I'm sensitive, and it is what it is, So I just want to pass that along to the daughter, and it makes me feel good, and makes them feel good, and it just makes everybody feel good, and that's where the smile thing on my page comes from, even though it's an extraction page and a hash and a rosin page and whatnot, it's still me over there freaking pinching my nipples and doing cool, crazy, stupid stuff, but but yeah, so
Cool. And then, of course, for Frigoli, my question is, have you got a discount coupon code for that fucking machine?
No, I don't sell these things, man.
Rick, which machine do you speak of?
That's a good point, actually.
yeah, I'm confused.
Everything has a price.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say there once upon a time was a discount code at Best Value Max, which is now shopbbb.com. It was for Girly, and it was like 10 or 15% off, and they did sell e-nails at one point. So maybe there's a way of going about using a for Girly discount code to get yourself an e-nail. But I would have a hard time believing that discount code still works. I haven't had anybody tell me that they've been using it lately. So I don't know. Maybe someone try, and if not, spam their email, and maybe they'll put it back up.
And that product, it was called D-limonene.
Yeah, D-limonene. It's one of the many terpenes typically associated with lemon or orange kind of profiles, and it's a very aggressive and in a concentrated form, quite frankly, toxic chemical. You know what I mean? It's not something you'd want to consume. So just like isopropyl or ethanol or anything like that, we're going to make sure that's out of there before we're putting the material back into the column. But I just find it to be a superior cleaner. Much like, some people might consider bleach to be a superior cleaner to vinegar, but for different reasons, like bleach might, be killing a lot of stuff, but might be killing too much, In my case, it's like, let's just get this thing squeaky clean every single time so that the next batch is going to be what it is. It's not going to have any leftover quote unquote contaminants or anything like that. I think it's honestly more important at the commercial scale to be operating on a higher level of cleanliness because there's a higher chance of having contaminated product when you're bringing it in from outside sources versus myself, where like almost everything is single source. I know what those plants have dealt with their entire lives, and I know that there's not any pesticides or not any mold or not any weird sprayed chemicals or anything like that. So I don't have to worry about that kind of sort of cross contamination, but it could definitely happen especially at the commercial scale.
Dude, I don't know that people really understand how much of a factor that is to figure in when talking about scalability. Cleaning's a pain in the ass. Cleaning is a pain in the ass because, like you said, it's got to be absolutely just ridiculously clean. OCD clean,
Yeah, we're operating in lab grade conditions. You know what I mean?
We have to be, because if we don't, then that material has got to be disposed of. So, end of the day, it has to be at your livelihood. You have to be clean, because if your material fails the testing because you didn't clean your goddamn lab, then it has to be thrown away and disposed of in ridiculous manners, and your facility might have to shut down.
Just
You might
like
not
those
be able to pay the
damn
bill.
trim crew across the street that isn't breaking down my nugs individually on the node size, and now I gotta go over there and yell at them because my freaking returns are low. Come on.
That's right.
Oh shoot! And I don't know how to. I don't even know how to put this into words. I didn't. Donkey Kongington and Cake in a Cup throwing money our way. This is a bit mind-boggling, right? I didn't even realize we had this capability.
Oh, sorry, Rick. Didn't we mention that? Yeah, we. Sorry.
No, but that's what you guys. That's what I pay you guys for God's
That's
sakes.
right.
Much
You
love
talk
and
about super
appreciation.
chats.
Cake in a Cup, Donkey Kongington. I don't know. This is brand new to me. This
It's
is brand
super
new.
chats. That came around
But
in the GrowTube era. Throw some money at these guys. Support the show.
I don't know if Spartan, if you're in the middle of a dab, or if you wouldn't mind explaining to any of our new friends in chat what's going on right now, please.
So right now, to my understanding, we're giving away I'm assuming a duck, but it could be any number of things.
We're giving away 4.
Four
ducks.
4 positions in a race.
There you go. Good call. Good call.
There we go. 4 positions in a race. All right. And if you win a position in the race and then you win the race, you win the genetics. That's how it works.
Right.
So get in, you got to put in the word that you see on the screen, variables, just like you see it.
And make sure you're doing that on the Let's Be Budz YouTube page, because I
Yes.
see some people doing that on my channels right now.
Yes, you have to be in our Let's Be Budz YouTube live to be eligible.
I hope they're all having. I hope they're all having fun over in chat. Okay, I said just what I'm saying. And Fazoli, you're just a little bit rude, but I love you anyway.
That's to cover the taxes on the other ones.
Oh goodness, yeah, that's the yeah. You know who gets the biggest piece of the action there is YouTube, for God's sake. Well,
or the IRS.
They take a big. Yeah. Oh God. Oh, don't even. Oh, that's not. Okay. So, where were we? Now, I was actually I'll be honest with you. My question was more directed at how do you clean your rigs as opposed to your equipment. But I was very interested in the process, and I had no idea. Of course, you're facing severe testing, and why you have to go through that procedure at 100%.
But you know what? That's a good point to bring up, is the fact that I do the same exact thing with my dab rigs, because when you get those little resin balls of reclaim at the bottom of your rig in that water, and you dump the water out and those things stick around in the glass. I mean, you're what are we talking? Epsom salts, isopropyl 90%, 98%, 97, 99, like your lab grade ethanols, like they're all great, but guess what works better than anything? It's de-lemoning. You just let it soak for a little bit, shake it up a couple times, and it melts it like it was operating at 140 degrees or something. It really breaks up that resin or rosin or whatever you want to call it really well. So that's actually how I clean my dab rigs too. The unfortunate kind of drawback of that, I guess, is when you're testing maybe the cycling of the water, like for the first time after you clean your dab rig with like ISO, and you get a big blast of like ISO fumes, you just inhale alcohol essentially. The same thing can happen with the de-lemoning, right? So that's why it's important to make sure you're not just like soaking it, dumping it, putting some water in there, and then going about your day dabbing, because it'll sit around, so just like ethanol, you kind of got to rinse it out a couple times too. But yeah, it works really great on breaking up oil places you can't reach. It's just here's the thing, it's expensive. You're getting what you pay for. It's definitely expensive, but I think actually I couldn't even tell you the price, but it's probably not too much more expensive than the lab grade ethanol.
That was my next question. Does Fazoli count for 2.99 cent Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. That is like normally I can't even look at chat. I can't even read chat.
It's a
And
buck
I gotta say,
98,
oh,
baby.
102. 102 in there. Lori, you're getting silly now. Come on. Lori is going to be our guest. When is that? We've got quite the show coming up. Okay, but we got a show going on right now. Oh, but I did suggest that we were going to be talking about different topics during this hour. One that is just on my mind is the Gone in 60. I can tell everybody that it is August the 17th, and I'm embarrassed to say I don't even know the exact time, but I will work on that little thing. I do know that Chad Westport, actually Chad and Spartan are the co-hosts for this show on August the 17th. And Chad will be doing a live, his regular show will be a live just for 1 hour, and then we'll be starting the Gone in 60. And Pedro and Superior and Frigroli, if you're not aware, what we've done is we've gotten together 60 different seed breeders, and we're going to be giving away 60 seed packs in 60 minutes. So
Nice.
some people said it couldn't be done.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So it's yeah, we're pretty excited. We hope to
It's going to take
break
some
a
doing.
world record, and we'll see who's up for challenging us next on that. So thank you so much, Justin Bean. I appreciate the love and support. Really do.
Right on.
I hope somebody beats us. I hope somebody challenges and beats us because that's a win-win, right? So then the community gets another 60.
Right on. Hell yeah.
Or at least
All
60.
right, let's give away.
61 to beat us.
You know they're gonna do 69.
69. Hey, do it.
Oh, we
All right, good luck.
might do it. Okay, Diaxo, a new.
Dioxo? Diachow?
I don't know.
Yeah, congratulations, a relatively new winner.
It's getting a duck. Or whatever race
Oh,
I
yeah.
decide to make it.
If we say your name wrong,
That's
feel
right.
free to correct us if you want.
Yeah, give us
Stangman.
Stangman, congratulations. But I gotta tell you, Stangman, you were our seed pack winner last week, and I asked if you could please send us your go to our website and give us your contact information. Jesus Sweet, congratulations, congrats.
And who's going to be the last lucky winner?
Diaxo came from my channel, actually, who's one of the ones that said variables over here and had to jump over. So it's glad he did. They did.
Right on.
Oh,
all right.
Anthony, congratulations. And thank you very much for mentioning that, Frigroli. Thank you. Yeah, in order to be part of this, you got to come over to say hi at our website. So, yeah. So, Zoli, we'll talk tomorrow night, my friend. We'll talk tomorrow night. Well, by the way, just anybody who's interested, we get together and play poker on Thursday night. I'll post something in my Instagram regarding it if anybody's interested.
Oh, what's the buy-in? Are we talking high stakes, Texas Hold'em?
Well, we have forced Uncle Rick to agree that it's not strip poker. So we've got that.
Well, I'm out.
Everybody can relax.
Do I have to show my nipple now, or no?
You just got to pinch them, I think, Pedro, right?
I mean, you can stop where you want to. There's variables there, too. You want to twist, baby? Let's start twisting. There's songs for that.
Twist and shout, right?
Right?
I don't know if I child if I adult what do you call it? Age content related? I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you age restricted? I mean, if you're not age restricted, you are now.
Oh, we absolutely.
I think we're just having the name. Having the name Uncle Rick, you get age restricted automatically just from that.
Yeah, really. I had to change my name from Uncle Touchy, and I don't understand what the problem was with that name. But anyway, as we're heading up towards the top of the hour, God damn it, guys! What a great time! I just want to give anybody an opportunity if we've missed anything to
Actually,
shout
yeah,
outs or anything.
there is something we're missing here. Uncle Rick, can you define what hash means to you?
Okay, hold on, Freak Rolly. Hold on here, sir. It
Aw,
might be variables
shit.
takeover.
Yes,
But
it's the
I
variables
wanna
takeover.
know-
You can find us live every Friday night, 11 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube, Twitch, and
For
Instagram.
you.
Not Instagram, and X.
For you specifically, I want to know what a duck race means to you. Can you define a duck race?
Something that Baked Pony used to do on the Michigan Bros Grow Show, where people could win things, and we get to watch the little ducks run across the screen, and it's very random. But I don't think it actually is random. I think Baked Pony is actually still running the duck races behind the scenes.
Damn it! How is he on to
Oh
us?
my! Oh my God! I've heard just about every conspiracy theory, but not that one. Okay,
Look into it.
that's a new one.
Icon Forge. We got to look into it.
I'm excited to see if they're actually ducks or not.
I was
feel like
was
Birds
Birds aren't
envisioning
real.
ducks.
I mean, obviously birds aren't real, and ducks are birds. So obviously ducks aren't real.
You have chickens.
Chickens aren't real.
Chickens are raptors.
They're little dinosaurs.
They're those little dinosaurs, exactly.
You
Unless we're
ever-
talking
you ever-
beef chickens.
You ever raise chickens? You know there's are dinosaurs.
Damn right they are.
For real though.
They'll turn on each other too. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, once
Well,
once
hey,
you
guys,
raise a big ass rooster, that's when you learn.
That's when you learn you have big, tall rubber boots and kick those motherfuckers.
Yeah, he didn't like my Crocs this morning. I had to, we'll just call him gently tap one of my roosters. He was trying to come at me. I'm like, dog, not today, man.
It's always first thing in the morning too. It's the worst.
We do have still going on leading up to that 60 and 60, the GoFundMe for the Last Prisoner Project. That's going to be going until November when we do our 12-hour chat-a-thon. But if you do want to participate in this 60 Gone in 60 giveaway that we're doing on August 17th, please feel free to go ahead and make a donation. Really, any amount would help. It is still being doubled by Dutchies right now. They are nearing the end of that. So if you can make a donation, the sooner the better, so we can take advantage of it. And then also with that for this month, if you do donate $5, you get a duck, obviously. Increments of 5, you get that many ducks. We're doing the Lost Coast Plant Therapy big bottle, concentrated bottle. And then I'm also including a pipe. And this is from Noble Glassworks. Thanks. I appreciate the extra hands there. So it's a nice little hand pipe from Noble Glassworks. Nick, he's been on the show recently, not too long ago. But we got this green and white wigwag going on. So he made this awesome hammer. I've got a couple pieces from him.
It's all dirty from smoking hash. I smoked tons of hash on that.
It is well used.
Oh,
I love it.
thanks for
Yeah,
reminding
so
me.
if you do, it's a really awesome, chance, really great cause to support. You get an opportunity to win a cute little package there. So if you can, then please donate if you don't mind. We're helping out. It goes towards commissary for the prisoners that are still behind bars for nonviolent cannabis crimes, whatever the fuck a cannabis crime is. And it helps the family to adjust to it. When they are released, it helps them get back into society, things like that.
Usually rent for the first month. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah, here. Yeah, so on the third Wednesday of every month, we do a draw for courtesy of Lost Coast Plant Therapy, a 32-ounce bottle of gold, and for every $5 that you donate to the GoFundMe, you get a duck in the race. So probably worth in excess of $100, including shipping. So for $5, and possibly doubled by Dutchies, and give you a chance to win $100 bottle of Lost Coast plant therapy. So there you go.
And a cool pipe.
And a cool pipe, right?
Yes.
This
and
month
a cool
only.
pipe.
We've got still not this next Wednesday, but the 21st, August 21st, we're doing that drawing. So get your donation if you do want to participate. Go over to the GoFundMe. We'll have that linked in chat here in just a minute, and then have your donation in by that Tuesday, the 20th, and we'll be able to have your name on the drawing for it.
Right on. Well, let's do this real quick.
Do you think they'd want to join us for a duck race?
Oh, I guess so. Frigoli,
Not
Pedro,
a duck race, but
Superior
yeah,
Budz,
right.
thanks so much for joining us, guys. Oh,
Yes.
oh my
This
goodness.
is beautiful.
Oh man, I'm rooting for Dioxo.
Oh,
The name
my-
matches the fucking alien. I love that.
Am I the only one that's so confused here? Right
This
now?
is our duck race.
This is supposed to be a duck race, but it's not a duck race. It's just
Welcome
a race.
to the
Whoever
jungle.
wins this race is going to
My
win the
money's on
seed
Diaco.
What is that?
that Superior Buzz gave away.
Is that what is that, like a spirit walker or something?
It's a broken
I'll just
monster.
push mute and watch again. Keep
Let's
watching.
have some fun.
Aliens got it.
Oh yeah, they're moving. They're moving.
It's the short armed Stangman. Your balance is off.
It's got
Your
3
center of
arms.
gravity is too high.
It's got that heavy head though.
He's
He's got
got-
heavy head forward.
Win it by a nose.
Head forward. Still got a minute.
Stangman, are you gonna win two in a row?
Two in a row.
It's like the Olympics all over again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at my alien buddy up front. No.
Wait, so this is a minute and a half or something like that?
No,
Minute 25.
Seconds now,
Minute
man.
25?
41
Like,
seconds.
it's like my time for like a 400.
They man is riding right now. Oh, slowing down though.
Well, see, they got to slow down because it's the last corner. But once we hit that, the final 100, it's going to be a breakaway.
What is it at the top? I don't know.
It's not. I thought Mothman at first, but questioning that now.
Some long legs on that front end.
Okay. Things can change real quick right now. Okay, now it's a race.
Oh, look at this.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Back-handed ace.
R.I.P. Harambe, come through.
Hold on.
Harambe.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Jesus,
I knew we'd make
sweet.
fun
Oh, look at how dejected.
Congratulations. So please, Jesus Sweet and Stangman, make sure you put your give us your contact information in the website. There it is, letsbebuds.ca. So
Nice.
yeah.
Sweet race.
Right on. That was
Yeah,
cool.
thanks.
That was
And
fun.
again, thanks Superior Buds for all of that. Thank you.
Cheers. Enjoy them.
Well, Uncle Rick, I think you've danced around the question long enough. What does hash mean to you?
Okay, well, I wasn't sure. I thought, okay, I'm not going to bring it up unless Frigola brings it up again. So
That's
that's a good question. Thank you for asking.
That's just more stalling. Is better.
So hash. When I think of hash, I think of in the in the 70s, in the 80s, all
mean
of the
last
hash we
century?
used to get
You mean
from.
last century, Rick? 1980s? Is that what you're talking about? Last century?
Oh, ouch. Anyway, I remember I vaguely remember that hash. I do remember one time my buddy, he was involved with people maybe he shouldn't be involved with, and was involved in transporting 25,000 kilos of hash from the coast up to here. And
He was involved in
he drove. he drove his dump truck onto a barge in the Fraser River, and they loaded it. They allegedly, and they loaded it up into his dump truck. As he drove off, he got stuck. And this is like, 3:00 in the morning. And he says, listen, we need a fucking tow truck and a big one, and we need it now. Yeah. And guess what? Within an hour, it was there. Yeah. That's the people he was dealing with. So, So anyway, other than that, no, hash, at one point, I really, when I listen to you guys, I'm overwhelmed, and I think it's so cool what you guys do. Myself, no, it'll never happen. I made a pathetic effort to get a press, and I thought, okay, that's something I could kind of sort of wrap my head around. Until everybody reminded me, there's the temperature, and there's the pressure, and there's the timing, and then you got to fill the bag in a certain, and all that stuff. So no, that's my. Other than that, I've got my my teeth, and I've got a machine for turning it into a little chunk of hash, and there it is. And so that's the extent of my hash life, I'm afraid.
But wait, what is hash?
Oh, I have no.
You said you turn it into a hash. What is hash?
Can you define it?
That's what we want to hear.
You need to give Rick 3 to 5 business days to respond, and an opportunity to discuss it thoroughly with ChatGPT first.
No. Okay, if I can't, this is it. This is the best I can give you. Is I'll take this and squeeze it with this and turn it into a little chunky, and that's my definition of hash. I mean, I have smoked. I have, every now and then I get some different things, but
Rick,
I smoke joints.
Chunky. It's a little chunky. That's his definition of hash.
Thank you.
I mean, honestly, that's probably more OG hash than most of our guests.
Yeah, which like he took a little bag of. Take a little cinnamon bag there, and he took a chunk of the cinnamon out of there, made a chunky of the cinnamon, and then he took the cinnamon, and then how do you smoke the cinnamon chunky?
I'll smoke it in a pipe. Or I do have. Actually, no, I do have some other rigs. I've got a Dr. Dabber and other things. I just experiment, but I get bored quite easily, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Where are we going with this anyway? I don't know. Have I explained? No, I haven't done a good job.
That's where we're going with this.
It's a question that's asked to every guest on the Variables show. So he was bringing it over here since we were invading you guys over here.
It's a very personal answer usually with everybody. It's very different for everybody.
Russ faced the same fate only a couple months ago.
I don't know. Everybody's got their own definition about everything. And the industry isn't that one of the other variables. That's for sure.
Yeah, like nomenclature or what, the lexicon, and it's always changing. It's definitions are always sometimes flexible and sometimes very stern. We can't even decide as here in Michigan as a state what to call it. We have the Cannabis Regulatory Agency, yet all of our regulations are written as marijuana with an H. Yeah. Like I don't know where to begin with that.
That's stupid. That's what that is. I've told lawmakers to their faces that. So how stupid is that? How backwards do you want us to sound? Like you want us to say something like that in actual public and read that out loud and be in public record? Have their name attached to anything named like that? That's just insane to me. So yeah, hopefully they start changing at least that word back to cannabis all the way through eventually.
eventually.
That should be an easy one. You know, you get a new lawmaker. That's how they keep score, I guess, or see if they're successful in that is if they pass a law. So that's an easy one to pass, right? Just to change fucking names of things. So you get a new one in there.
Hey,
you floated by them.
You know, that thing that, despite the fact that it's legal in Canada federally, I think the U.S. is heads and shoulders ahead as far as the culture goes. What Alexis is doing with this Camp Canna is really, truly groundbreaking. We don't have events that we should be having, and it's just really great to see. On that note, I want to say thank you so much again, Variables, for joining us. Chat, we love you. Last words for Spartan.
Much love, everybody, and keep growing.
Give me a break, ain't another life.